So we've got final order. We've got
Yep.
zero news, really.
Yeah, I was kind of surprised.
What did I
Well,
get?
I
We
mean,
got
most of the
what was
news that we tend to get is just new release or like new series and stuff
yeah
like that.
upcoming stuff. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Um, Grim and Killer number 3. That was it.
pretty stoked about Grim. The interior
Yeah.
pages look great.
Yep. Those covers look freaking.
Oh yeah, those are
Oh
sweet.
man, that where was it that I saw a preview? Oh, it was in the back of the Alice book.
Yeah,
That had
yeah.
that 4-page, 6. I was like, "Oh,
hmm
yeah." If I had not already decided, that would have decided it
Oh
right
yeah.
there. That was a solid teaser that they put in there.
Well, I really think they should continue to do stuff like that with, especially with first issues, because people are picking those up more often than they're picking up sort of issue 13 or whatever.
Right, yeah.
And just doing that, just doing a couple pages of previews and stuff like that in the back's perfect marketing.
Yep.
So
I was thinking also that, reading Six Gun,
mhm,
that something that we haven't mentioned previously, but I'm gonna mention when we talk about it, are the previews of the books, which will tell you the other books coming out at the time,
yeah.
because there was some pretty cool books that I had just kind of lost track of that were coming out the same time that was coming out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's definitely something we should do because it kind of puts in context just kind of what was going on or what was going on and just other books that people may not
yeah,
be
just
aware
it
of.
it broadens the
Yep.
time frame, other than, well, this was 2013. This book, it's like,
Yeah.
no, 2013, 8 books, 10 books, and as you see those books, it kind of puts you in mind that, hey, Doug, that
What's going on?
what else was going on?
Yeah.
Yeah, and maybe that'll jog something else in your mind and memory, and I mean that's the kind of stuff that we're about, is
Oh
is
yeah.
just good feels and
hmm
stuff, so but yeah, I was reading that, and I'd get to the end and I'm like, "Oh man, that was out at the
Yep.
same time." We talked about that one. I remember that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was cool.
Trying to think, I can't remember exactly what was going on as far as those books. I mean, it was like last broadcast and stuff like that.
Well,
Or
let
that
me
was
see.
last broadcast was Archaea.
Yeah, I've got them
So
sitting here, so let's flip. Well, first of all, you've got
three
three
guns.
guns. Yeah.
Yep.
What else we got? We got the remember when Falling Skies was on TV?
Oh yeah, I totally forgot about that.
And then here is
Yep.
RoboCop.
I just picked up that miniseries last week.
And then let's see what else we got. We got Big Ads, Dayman. We've
Oh,
already
sweet.
talked about that one.
Yep.
So
Is that Suicide Risk right
yeah,
there? Yep.
Suicide Risk. The books that they have here in the back are Suicide Risk, Clive Barker's New Testament,
Mm,
Polarity, Hellraiser,
Polarity. Yeah.
Deathmatch,
Oh, I
Superbia.
loved Deathmatch was so good.
Yep, I remember you talked about it every time we
Oh,
recorded,
I
and
love
I
that book.
never it was another one of those that I was like,
It just
"Mm."
didn't click.
Yeah, I didn't get into it, but you were like, "Oh,
Oh,
man,
I love that
this
book.
time it did," and,
Oh, it was so good.
what else we got? We got, Hypernaturals
Oh
and,
yeah.
Fanboys versus Zombies.
Yeah,
So
that was a
those are
fun
all the
book. Yeah. Oh yeah, I forgot they
which
used to
which
do
I
that.
like
Yeah.
the method that they did here too
Yeah.
with the covers.
Totally forgot they did that.
And then that's the first issue. By issue 6, it's changed just maybe a couple, 3 books, and that's it. Otherwise,
Yeah.
and if you remember all of those books that I mentioned, those were all longer running books
Yeah. Yeah.
at that time. They hadn't quite got into that 5 and out kind of deal yet.
Most of them were 8, 10, 12.
10, 12, yeah,
Yeah.
15 issues, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, when they started doing the shorter runs, I mean, I got why they did it, but
Uh,
stuff like, getting like The Woods, a good
yeah,
30 issue run or something
yeah.
like that was always good. I mean,
I kind of like it because it's not okay. The comparison, the 5 issues is good but intense because
yeah,
it's 5 issues,
yeah,
whereas the Woods are good but it's comfortable, and you come back to it
Yep.
month after month, and and it gives you kind of that anchor,
Yep.
for whereas 5 issues, it's like, no, you got to get it and read it because
Hmm.
it'll be over soon. And
Yep.
so different feels. Both of them are good. Both of them do their own thing. But yeah, the for me, it's a different kind of adrenaline dump
Yeah.
as
Oh yeah.
far as why I enjoy it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's good times. I enjoyed those things. Yep. Looking forward to talking about that miniseries next week. That'll be good because there's not other books on the list next week. It's a
Uh,
pretty slim list.
no, yeah,
Like 3 books, maybe.
yeah. What is? Let's see. Oh no, actually, I've already got
Well,
it
let's
up
go ahead
here.
and start the show, and we can look at it then.
Well, let's do it. I mean, if we're good to go,
I'm
I'm
good to
good.
go. Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
good to
I'm
go.
good.
All right, cool. Doug, are you good to go? You got your drink in hand. You got some snacks.
Drink. Yes.
That's Oh yeah. Well, I just got the bottled water. I've already done the other stuff earlier, whatever. Don't do drugs, kids. So what are we? Was it 35, 36?
Let me
We're at
see
30.
here.
We're at 30,
35.
35. I guess I could look at my own thing here, and it would tell me.
Nah. I was gonna say, don't you have YouTube with notes somewhere or something?
Yeah, I do. But paying
Oh,
attention.
oh, okay.
It's a thing I don't do. I
I'm
barely
okay.
rent it. I barely rent it. So,
Gotcha.
all right. So, got to make sure our third chair is okay. Doug over there. So, all right,
Yep.
he's good to go. So, all right, cool.
All
In
right, Doug.
three,
Cool.
2, 1. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Boom Addiction. This is episode number 35. I'm Chris Barton, and with me, as always, is Mr. Ed Moore. Ed, how are you?
Pretty good. How's everybody? Got my Usagi hat on and got my wrong way Usagi fan here in the
Yep,
bottom.
you got your.
Usagi. This is early Usagi. If you don't
It's
like
not
the
even
way that's drawn,
classic. It's like beyond. It's like earlier than classic.
yeah, it's pre-classic.
Yeah.
If there is if that you can like put those words together. This is yeah.
Yes. That is pretty
So
sweet. At pretty nice. So another good week of Boom Comics. So I'm pretty excited about all of this. A new number one. We got
oh
a
man.
mini series that is wrapping up, and then we've got a couple other ones that are just kind of one getting started, a little started, and the other one's just kind of right in the mix. So I'm
Yep,
kind of
moving
excited to talk
through.
about that. So let's go ahead and jump into our FOC. If I can pull up I had almost everything pulled up and ready to go.
Uh,
Oh,
we
I
started
was
too soon. I rushed
no,
it.
I
Oh my
had
bad.
it. No, I rushed. I had an extra screen up, and I was like, nope, got to turn that one down before. It was just a file management, but
Okay.
still wasn't anything special. So, all right. So starting off this episode, like we start off every episode, with Final Order Cutoff. If you go to previewsworld.com, you can look for Final Orders under catalog, Final Order here, or maybe your store has it on their website or Facebook page or something like that. That's what mine does. They're starting to kind of feel that out, so they're having a good time with that, and they give you sort of their top books that you might want to put on your FOC, which is great suggestions. Some books I don't even think about, and I'm like, oh, that's not a bad idea. So I,
Yeah, you should
add.
get this one because it's got the first appearance of so
No,
and
they
so.
never do that kind of thing.
It'll be a key 8 years from now. You watch.
They never do that.
Whatever.
Oh, I just left that. I just left that group of people too.
That word is getting more and more to be one that just makes me want to vomit.
What
Key.
keys?
Ugh,
Yeah.
like,
Oh, I used that in a tweet today too. I'm
you
sorry.
did. I know. I'm like, first
It
he's
is a
putting up
key.
slab book, and now he's using the K word. Oh my gosh.
Totally gone over the edge.
What's going
So,
on? Where did I go
all right.
wrong?
So, yeah, where did you go wrong? So, all right, FOC, these are orders due by the April 11th, which is next Monday, or sooner. So, pay attention, get up in your store and find out. So we'll start off with Dune: The Waters of Canley. This is the first issue of a new 4-issue mini series. So obviously we have a cover A here and a cover D, which is the FOC reveal, which is something Boom does quite a bit. Revealing being you don't know what that cover is until the FOC. That's what that means if you're ever
Oh,
questioning what that means. So, or at least that's the way it was impressed upon me, is
well,
what
but
that means.
it's not even FOC quite yet. I mean, they still have Friday and Saturday and
True.
uh, whatever part of the day Monday. So,
Oh, and I'm glad you brought that up too, because that's
uh,
the thing I always talk about. And this week was one of those weeks. I made a point of paying attention, and it sure enough, it happened. So anyway, so we've got a B and a C cover still floating out there. Grim #1. If you picked up the new Alice Ever After, you got a preview of that in your
preview in the
comic.
back. Yeah.
So now you also, great timing. I wonder if it was planned. I'm sure it was.
Mm,
You can get Grim #1 on your FOC. You got a couple covers here. I got a foil version of cover A, which is always cool. I do enjoy the foil. We got a Frizzen cover here for C, and then the FOC, which had not been listed until I think today. Might have
ah,
been yesterday, but I don't think I looked at it yesterday. So I saw this popped up or was added today. So we got to cover F. So there's a D and an E. So I'm assuming, well, I don't know. We've seen most of the covers already out. I don't think
yeah,
there's
yeah. I
a
think
black and white, or there might be a black and white out there. I don't know, maybe. But yeah, there's several other covers that are not part of this that are probably the ratio variants. So, um, which is fine. It just means more covers Chris has to hunt for. It's cool. We're good. But there's this sweet. I love this. I'm going to bring this one up. This Jay Lee
yeah. That
variant cut.
Jay Lee has always had very very captivating art. I think.
Yes.
Uh, I remember him from um, Youngblood Strike File.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That was really the first time. He might have done stuff like his Namor stuff may have been
Yeah,
before
he did.
that.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know. I don't
or
know.
yeah,
You're right. I do remember the
I
Namor
vaguely
stuff.
remember, but the Youngblood Strike File stuff is really what grabbed me. But
Yep.
the covers that he has been doing, I think, are just phenomenally better than any page of art I remember seeing back then.
Yeah.
His covers are just some of the best covers that I ever see anybody putting out right now.
Yeah. He's pretty top notch. I when I saw that added, I was like, yep, we're gonna have to get that one. So I've already done a pre-order on that one
And
myself.
that character was in the preview.
Yeah. Hmm.
Whoever she, if it's a she, turns out to be,
Yeah. I would assume our lead, or at
I
least in some
or
form or
co.
fashion. Or
Yeah.
co, yeah, that's true. Okay, so we got Jim Henson Storyteller Shapeshifters number 3. We got a cover A and a cover B on that. Both of those I do dig. I do dig this cover A. That is, and you
It's got a
talked about
kits
this one.
it's got a
Yeah,
kitsune. Yeah.
yeah. So
A
there's
nine-tailed fox spirit.
pretty sweet there. We got Magic the Gathering number 14, a cover A and a B here, which
What? 2
yeah,
covers?
there's got to be more than that.
What?
I feel like
Yeah,
there's
really. What
more.
I think we're being shorted covers here. What's
Yeah,
going on?
we'll have to look into that one. And then issue 25 of Once and Future, that's coming up. This cover also, the FOC variant, got revealed today, and I'm sorry, I had to put that on my pre-order.
Oh,
I tr-
nice.
I honestly I try not to
Okay.
buy every variant cover there is. I mean, honestly, but that's just too cool. I mean, that's
I like
grand.
that. Their
Just
stash in the van.
this is so good. So yeah, definitely gonna have to
Reminds me of
track
something
that
you'd
one
see in
down.
Punisher.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Yeah.
The back of his war wagon.
Yep. So and that's Simon DiMeo, who works on We Only Find Them When They're Dead.
Mhm.
So
Okay.
he's been doing a ton of cover art for DC. He's been doing, I think, with Robin. Is it Robin? I want to say maybe it's a couple other things, but I do remember some Robin covers that he's done recently. So
Oh, okay.
they
Cool.
look great. So glad he's getting a lot of work. That might be why we're not getting some other comic, but hopefully not.
Yeah, why there's maybe gaps in other stuff because
Hey,
yeah.
he's getting paid, so that's all I
Yep.
really. Yeah, can't blame the man. So, all right, so
Do you
that's it. Oh,
do
go
you
ahead.
figure for a page, which is the cover, do you figure they make more money for that page than they would for a series of interior pages, one
Oh,
page?
for sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Cover art is
I
definitely.
would think so, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I would think with a cover, there's. I mean, interiors there's a page rate.
Right,
So, and then the covers are obviously more than that. I would assume each publisher sort of has their own range, and each obviously artist has their own range as
right.
well. So, but yeah, yeah, definitely you're getting more cash for the cover art. So that's why we're seeing more Jenny Frison covers and not interior pages.
Well, and any number of other people that have
Oh, for sure.
transitioned from inside to outside essentially, and
Yeah.
yeah,
J. Scott Campbell, Adam Hughes, yeah, all those folks.
yeah.
So, and well deserved. They make some sweet cover
Oh,
art.
hey, somebody's going to pay you for what you're doing, and they're going to pay you more to do it this way than that way. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, that's what you're in it for,
Yeah.
among other things. But
Oh, sure. Yeah.
so yeah.
All right. So that's everything FOC for April 11th. Be sure to get out there if any of these things. Highly recommend Grimm, solely based on the previews that we've seen.
Oh man,
Ed and I have not gotten a chance to read this or anything like that,
mm-mm.
but
No, not yet.
I would definitely say over the course of the last 6 months, I don't think that there's been a first issue that has sort of that I've not really been impressed with. The
Mhm.
only there's one or two maybe I can think off the top of my head that I was like, we'll see, and kind of leave it at that. But other than that, but more about the I don't say horror, but more of sort of this style of storytelling that these folks have been coming in and doing stuff with Boom has sort of gotten us almost sort of back in kind of that area. I don't know if you remember, that we were really big fans of Boom publishing a lot of these books, and they're kind of doing it again, which is I'm all here for. So just give me more comics.
Yep.
So normally we do both new releases this week and upcoming releases, but I kind of feel what's the point of doing this week's? We're going to talk about this week's books anyway.
Right.
So let's take a look at the books that are coming out next week, which is the 13th. Yes, April 13th. I want to double check that before I say it out loud.
Doug says he liked the Grim preview also.
Cool. That's good. Good. Doug, appreciate that.
Man of taste, our
Man,
third, hanging in there, doing us proud.
yeah. So these are coming out. These books coming out next week. We've got actually. I'm gonna let you cover that. Why? Give me a swig of water. I'm getting ready to
Okay.
start choking.
All righty. We've got Angel issue 4 of 8 coming up. Looks like they've solicited 4 regular covers, and I say regular covers because there's always the possibility of there being store variants of who knows how many, and regular publishing doesn't really track those. You got to kind of fan out and look around on Google and try to find stores that are advertising them and stuff like that. Um, I found actually for Usagi, um, IDW is doing Usagi now, and a lot of times I'm in an Usagi group, and there are several comic book store owners or employees that are in the group also, and so word has been getting out from uh, like for me, I'm here in West Virginia for stores on like the West Coast that normally I wouldn't follow or watch. Well, somebody's in the group and they happen to work at the store and they know that such and such issue is getting a store variant,
Mm,
and 3 or 4 weeks ahead of time they'll throw up a picture and say, our store Facebook page will let you know when they're going to start taking orders for this. So
yeah.
um, that pretty much is the only book that I consistently look for variants for, and it makes it much easier than it would have been for me, say, 5 or 6 years ago, in under old school rules,
Oh, for sure.
if you will. So,
Yep.
howdy,
Hey there,
Stephen.
Steven.
All right. Carrying on with next week, House of Slaughter Discover Now Edition, Volume 1, trade paperback. Chris, what is Discover Now Edition?
The assumption I'm having is the Discover Now is putting out the trade in comic shops before it hits bookstores.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
think that's, and I think there's a, and I'm just going to pull it up just to look, but I think that's what it is. And I don't know if the cover is different. Maybe it has a, like a logo
Okay.
or a sticker on it or something. Who knows?
You think maybe the format of the book would be different? You think maybe it's a
I
stripped
don't,
down version or
I
anything like
don't
that?
think so
No.
because it's a,
Okay.
yeah, and it doesn't look like there's, the
It's
solicitation.
$15 for House of Slaughter. What was that? 5 issues?
Yeah, it's
$15 for 5 issues
it's the
sounds
first
about
one.
right.
And
So
it's just collected exclusively for comic shops and limited to its first printing. And that's always your kicker, right?
so there's one printing and it's comic shop only, I
Yeah,
guess.
yeah,
Is what it's comic shop exclusive, but you don't want to throw that word out there necessarily. It's probably print to order. So
probably.
it'll be
Yeah,
the using the word exclusive would be kind of misleading because it being print to order. There shouldn't be any scarcity or anything.
I would hope not. No.
All right, let's see what else we got. We got the Mamo trade paperback
Whew.
coming out.
Yes.
Mighty Morphin 18, 2, 4, 6, 8 covers on that advertised.
And that's why we said earlier about Magic. Magic
Yeah,
and
that's
Power Rangers, they're kind of in the same vein there. So yeah, if you
yeah. They
see
usually run neck and
6 or
neck
8
with
covers, yeah.
yeah. So yeah, we're like A and B. What? Come on now. Um, Chris's, I think, favorite series here is starting to run
Ooh,
down.
yeah,
This is issue 16 of Seven Secrets. Supposed to only be going 18, so we're wrapping things up there
yeah,
with 2, 4, 5 covers there,
yeah.
and
Peter
then
Rios and I are shedding a tear.
oh, the third something is killing the children slaughter pack comes out. That'll be covers for Virgin covers for issues 11 through 15.
Yep.
So that'll be the third and final slaughter pack.
Yeah, and I was at Ultimate Comics Raleigh because they have multiple locations. I
Mhm.
was at their Raleigh location the other day, and they had the second slaughter pack still up
Mm.
on the shelf. They've had it on the shelf for several weeks now, which I'm like,
No,
come on, folks.
nobody's buying them. Wow. Okay.
I mean, it's only one. I mean, I don't know how many they ordered, but I was like, come on,
Well,
folks,
yeah,
come
but
on,
still, if it's only
it's
one,
David
then
Mack.
somebody better snag it because it's just one.
I know. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hmm.
I don't know what's up. So yep. So that's it for the books coming out next week. So a small, like we said, as far as like stuff that we'll talk about and everything, it's just small. It's 1, 2, 3 books that we'll end up talking about. But as far as like the amount of stuff that's coming out, you get 3 series, 2 trades. I mean,
Yeah.
and then
2 trades.
so and I would, I don't want to speak for you, Ed, but I would say if you haven't read Mamo or House of Slaughter, picking up those trades would probably be the best thing.
Hmm.
Mamo, especially,
Yes.
I highly recommend that book.
We really enjoyed it. And I'll be upfront. House of Slaughter, I did not enjoy.
No,
The
it was all right.
first couple issues, I guess, but the last 3, and because that was more than 2, 3 is more than
Yeah,
2 overall, I'd have to say no,
math,
I didn't like that.
yes.
Yeah, it's comic book math. Weighted math is what that hit percentage is. Yeah. Yeah, so House of Slaughter didn't work for me.
No,
Little bits and pieces I'll take with me as I continue reading. The rest of it I'll just leave over there on the pile with the rest of the books and just be
no,
like, okay, yeah, got it,
can't.
read it, moved on.
Hey, man, not every book is for everybody.
Yep,
That's the thing. That's what we always try and tell everybody.
every swing's not a home run.
Exactly. Exactly. So
And next week we're also going to be talking about Six Gun Gorilla, correct?
that is correct.
Six Gun Gorilla. Look at
So
him.
hopefully you folks have had a chance to check that out. If not, we will definitely be going into that one. So Doug is correct. Memo's great.
Yes, it was.
And Doug dug the art. That's
All right.
my bad joke for the day. Just the
Doug.
one. Doug
Oh
Doug.
yeah, boo.
I love that game though. That was
Like,
such a great.
I think that
Remember
was
Doug Doug? Oh, it's Dig
Dig
Doug.
Dig Doug?
Dig
Yes,
Doug.
I
Sorry
do
about that.
remember that.
That was
Sorry, Doug. Chris is just like
I'm
being
dating
like
myself.
way uncool right now.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yeah.
So everybody know what time it is? It's that favorite time that you all love and cherish. This is the only reason you even come to the YouTube channel. Those that
Stephen
do.
liked the memo also, apparently.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let me jump over there. Talk. I
Right?
talk. Oh,
I'm
that's right.
I'm
You
assuming
did.
that was
Yes.
memo. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I remember you talking
Mhm.
about that.
So, all right. So favorite time. It's
What
Chris's.
what did you buy, Chris?
It's Chris's flex time.
Yeah,
So
let's see those variants that you've already posted
so
on Twitter.
so
So
obviously, so yeah, you follow me on Twitter, you get to see this stuff beforehand.
yeah, it's yeah. So
So obviously, we're gonna be talking about Allison
yes,
Ever
yes.
After. So we gotta. This is just the regular one. And then obviously the Jenny Prison.
Yep.
This is the regular one. Now, I am the logo-less one, the Virgin
Yeah,
cover one of this. Is
anti V word, but
it
yes,
still hurts me to say, but
the
yes,
virgin
it just doesn't. I don't like it. Anyway, beside the point. Is the 1 in 25 cover. I am watching several eBay auctions
to see.
to
Okay.
see. Yeah, so
What are they looking to be?
right now, most of them are. Two of them are hovering around 10 to 12.
Well, that's not too
So
bad.
there's still like a day left on them.
Okay.
So
They could go
if
up to
you've ever
15.
yeah, you've ever bought anything on eBay, you kind of know everybody waits till the last second.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of watching and waiting on that one. But the if it stays at that price range, cool. That's what I'm going for. And then this one, the J. Scott
Yes, J.
Campbell.
Scott Campbell.
This I was told a weird story about this yesterday. So I have not had time to confirm anything, so I really don't want to spread any rumor
Oh,
or anything like that. But it's more like just how it was shipped and stuff like that. So it's listed as a 1 in 10. And I can't find locally, I can't find the one that actually has the logo on it. Like nobody got their copies.
oh, but they are out there. They exist.
I'm assuming they are.
Oh,
So I have a friend of the show, Tim Paget, who's on the other side of Raleigh. He shops at the Cary location of Ultimate Comics. He was going to look there and let me know, but he probably won't be there till over the weekend or whatever.
hmm,
So I know
okay.
the cover exists. I've seen it on Twitter and
Okay.
stuff like that. So
Okay.
it's not that it's, but just here in my area, for some reason, the three stores that I have contacted about it, or two that I've been by, and then one I contacted, they didn't have any copies of it. They had copies of the 1 in 10. They actually got a couple of copies of those. So
Hmm.
it was almost like
Okay.
they got switched. Like
Right. Yeah, they
they
got
should have
yeah.
got the other one. So I'm trying to work that out. So I'm trying to get a couple extra copies of that because I owe you a copy of that, and so I want to make sure that you've got that. So I'm on the hunt. So
Which do you have the B cover? Doug said he had a hard time choosing between A and B. Which was the B cover the Frizzen? No, that's a 1 in
um,
25 or
well, no. This is the A,
A,
and this is
right?
either B or C. I forget how
Oh,
they
okay.
listed
Okay.
it. So yeah, they're both pretty sweet.
Okay.
Um, but then this was the
Yeah,
FOC reveal.
yeah,
So
yeah, something weird is
yeah, and
going
it could
yeah.
just be locally. That's the thing. So that's why
Well,
I didn't reach out to really figure it out because I figured if I see it on social media, other people buying it, it's not a big enough
right,
issue to
yeah,
where I care.
whatever's going on will shake out. So,
Right.
yeah, you'll
So and then picked up the. I'm not 100% sure what variant this is. I think I was told it's the one per store,
hmm,
but I can't
that's
find it listed anywhere. But
that's
it's
cool.
yeah. Um so when I can find something, and my rule is everyone at a comic shop, it's less than $10. I don't have any qualms about unless my stack is already too big and I'm not buying
Right,
anymore.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah, but
less
if
than 10
it's
bucks, yeah.
yeah, so if it's less than $10, I'll pick it up. So that always, if you're ever like, oh man, Chris spends a lot of money on variants. Now, if I come in to the show and share these are the 40 variants that I picked up. Yeah, Chris spent way too much. Chris
He
would never spend that much money.
dropped a penny there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I would not do that. So a lot of it is store credit from trading in
from
comics,
other books. Yeah.
which is how I got the Darth Vader. Yeah, so I did not spend hard cash on that. So all right, so let's see. That's enough of me flexing. I guess
Okay.
we can talk about some comics. What do you want to talk about first?
All right. Let's talk about Buckhead.
Sweet.
I like that word, Buckhead. Exactly. See, that's the exact reason I like it.
Response you need.
Yeah. Um, I had over the years. Have I ever told you about the speech that I did when I was in college? I did a speech supporting the fact that that word could be used for all 8 parts of speech, and of course, I had examples throughout my speech.
No, you
Yes.
didn't.
Oh, yes. It was beautiful. Yeah. Dropping f bombs like they were nothing
Holy
over
cow.
the 11 minutes I did that speech, and it was perfectly acceptable. So, and that's why I did it too, because I'm like, I can get away with it here. Okay, Buckhead issue number 5. This is the final issue. Inside cover, they had inside cover. Well, yeah, the inside cover. They listed 3 cover variants there. This is coming from Boombox. Was written by Shobo, which I meant, and I forgot to see if they had written anything else, just out of curiosity.
Hmm.
Art by George Cambadias, lettered by Jim Campbell. The main logo was designed by Grace Park. The video game homage logo was designed by Julian Crabb. Overall design for the book was by Nancy Mojica. Did I spell that right? Mojica? Do you have the book there in front of you? I don't have it in here
Yeah.
with me.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, Mojica, yeah.
Mojica? I'm
My
not sure
eyes
how
were
to
trying to focus, but I couldn't.
see it. So, and any of these names, if any of these people are actually listening and I butchered it, please let us know. I'd be more than happy to make the correction and know moving forward, because I'm sure we will be seeing more of you folks.
Oh,
So,
for sure. Sebo Coker is currently writing New Masters over at Image, but that's the only other book that League of Comic Geeks has credited.
New Masters
Yeah, it's a new series. First issue came out on February 2nd of this year.
doesn't even sound like anything I think I've heard of. It's wow. Okay.
Yeah, third issue came out this week. So they had
I'll
2 issues.
look and see. Yeah. Okay. So, the main note that I have here is that for me, I thought, and this happened earlier with another book, this one missed the landing. I thought it just kind of, get you going, get you going, get you going, and then it's like,
I wondered if you were going to think that as well. Yeah.
yeah. Did you think that?
Yeah, unfortunately,
Okay.
it I really was digging the build up, even through 4, and I think we even mentioned something when we talked about 4, like they're gonna have to do a lot in 5.
Well, yeah, they did a lot for the first half, maybe
Yeah,
3/4, and then it was just like, okay, and we're done, and here's the
here's a flash
epilogue, and
forward.
it's like, what? Yeah. So we had all of our principals. We had Toba, who is the main character. He's the A principal. We had Darsha, Mel, and Romy, who are all B characters for the main. Excuse me here a moment while I
Oh my,
yeah
well that's unfortunate
go on down.
for those of you listening on the podcast. Ed
This
has
is
a cat just
this is
roaming in between him and the camera.
Kitsune, my boy cat. So yeah, they are all back together, and plus we also had Josu make an appearance. He was there at the very beginning and he succumbed to the bad guys, and
Yeah,
then he recovered in time to join them for the what was it, Chris? Like half a page, maybe 3 panel denouement of the story, and
It
then it
felt like
was
it felt like the Ewoks at the end of Return of the Jedi.
yeah, it
It
was.
was like, oh yeah, I forgot about them. So
Doug is telling us that New Masters is a dystopian sci-fi set in Africa. The first issue is pretty a dystopian sci-fi set. That's still just not ringing any bells that I had seen it. Huh. Okay. Um, our main bad here is Ewan. He has gathered up his Ejugun, and again, for those that may be in the know, I am not particularly familiar with this mythology, so I am more than likely mispronouncing these words as well. Will you go on? Quit messing with stuff. Sorry, guys. Just like a kid. Just like a kid. Um, and so Ewan is attempting to culminate his evil plan with the help of followers, more like subjugated people, the Ejugun. They are in another dimension. They manage to cross over into ours, and ultimately, what they're going to do is do enough damage in our dimension to be able to take over and rule, according to Ewan, our dimension. It's up to our Scooby 4, Toba, Darsha, Mel, and Romy, well, and Josu, it turns out, so Scooby 5, to help stop that, which ultimately they do with the help of a totem slash weapon that Toba secured from the Elseverse, which was what they were calling the. Well, I guess it's actually the name of the other dimension because everybody used it, not just
yeah.
Toba and his family. Um, as I said, I mean the for the first half of this fifth issue, I think the story had maintained the same pace that it had throughout.
Mhm.
It was just a continuation, 1 through 4,
Yep.
half of issue 5, and then after that halfway point in like a page and maybe a couple panels, it was done. And then the rest of the book was an epilogue and, like Chris said, a flash forward. So I don't know. I can't tell you why. I can't necessarily tell you right now. I would really, really have to think hard on it to understand why. When I was done with that issue, I thought it had just missed. That was the first thing that went through my head, as opposed to my thoughts after I read this issue for this week of Shapeshifters. Completely different thoughts went through my head.
Hmm.
So, yeah, this one just didn't. So, um, I don't know. And for those of you that are interested, I may have missed this or just really didn't pay any attention. The name of the book is the name of the town that they're in. I don't think I
Yeah.
necessarily made and maintained that connection
Oh,
until
okay. Yeah.
tonight when I read this, that's what Buckhead was the name of the town. I'm sure it had come up and I had just lost it somewhere along the way.
Yeah. It's all right.
Um, cool stuff though. I believe that it was they were delving into some of the um, African, and I apologize. They may have even mentioned a particular region or country's mythology and background that they were using as far as these things that were present in the Elseverse. Um, and those things were interesting to me. I it maybe I would have enjoyed it more if it had been more than 5 issues and they had been able to get into that aspect of things. Maybe that is where really it didn't the story for me didn't develop too much in Elseverse.
Right.
Most of the
Yeah.
development was on our side of that uh,
Yeah.
dimensional break.
Yeah.
And so you have these things happening, and it's like, why? Who are they? What's going? A lot of that was slighted, I guess, in order to fit the whole story into 5 issues with focus being on our main characters in the real world,
Right.
and
Yeah.
which of course that's where you want to put a lot of your emphasis because that's the that's the real world, if you will. And yeah, I don't know, just after the end, the first thought when I put the book down was that yeah, that one just missed. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I the pacing of it was really, really good. Throughout this entire series, I don't think that there was a part of it that I didn't enjoy, but I do think as we got to the end here, you're right that we sort of missed some storytelling that that may have just, well, obviously was just never there, but like, yeah, I would have enjoyed a little more understanding of the threat,
Hmm.
and not just like there's this ominous presence that's coming.
Right.
You know,
They're wanting to take over and they're bad.
yeah. I mean, and you kind of get that a lot with stories. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just that's sort of stereotypical, not
Yeah.
stereotypical,
That's a,
tropey.
yeah.
It's very tropey,
That's,
and I didn't feel like this series was tropey at all. And
no,
so
no.
you kind of, so that's where it felt to me that it got a little. I wanted a little more. Yeah, you're right. Maybe a sixth issue would have helped.
Maybe,
Kind of space that out just a little bit to give some of that.
maybe
But
eight
at
issues
this,
would have been, yeah.
I don't know. But like I felt like the whole thing with his dad, him meeting his dad, and everything, that felt super rushed.
Hmm.
And it was like, hey, I'm here. It took me 4 issues to get here. I got here in the fourth issue. All right, we need to hurry up. You need to get this sword, and you need to get out of here.
Right.
And I'm not coming back. Well, the whole story leading up to that had been talking about his dad and
Missing
and
and,
missing him and all this. And he
yeah,
seemed to be okay that his dad will always be with him through
which
this. But
he said, yeah.
other than that, he seemed to. I mean, Toba's really good at coping. Just sort of being able to take a whole lot of uh, emotional and physical trauma and sort of just, all right, I'm gonna park that over here, and then I'm move. That's a great that's a great lead action hero. Uh,
Yeah, I'm
but
not so sure even I can do that in the real world
yeah,
after
so
many more years than what Toba has.
but I just again, it was like it was so close. It was just it wouldn't have taken for me. Wouldn't have taken much, but yeah, I did get to the end of this issue, and one of the first thoughts I had was, I wonder if Ed felt that sort of
Uh,
stumble to the finish line a
well,
little
there
bit.
there you go, yeah.
So yeah, which is also sort of attributing to the fact that you and I have talked about comics so much on these shows that
Yep.
I can kind of get a feel, even if I like super enjoyed something, I can get in the back of my head that Ed voice that no one should have back there, but
Mhm.
get that little voice that just goes, yeah, but
That's a
did
scary
it
voice.
really? So, but yeah, overall, it's a good miniseries. I did enjoy
Yeah,
it.
I did enjoy it.
It will be one of those things, that when asked, would I recommend reading it? Yeah, for sure. So
Um, this just occurred to me. Do you think that any of the any of our feelings are due to the fact that perhaps it was geared for a younger age group?
possibly, I mean, there's always that.
Well, yeah, but
Yeah.
it's boombox. I wouldn't necessarily expect that to be the case, but
Well, I never look at boombox as sort of um, talking downward to the audience.
no, no. But some of the other boombox properties, though, I think have been more. I don't know. I would not have that question after having read
Right.
that question of whether or not I was the target demographic.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, some other properties, I think I could safely say no in boombox. No, I wasn't the target demographic.
Right.
It was geared down a little bit from my age. And I'm just wondering if maybe part of my expectation is I wanted it to be, for my 54-year-old tale.
Oh,
And,
sure.
it's not because, I mean, first and foremost, everybody, all of the characters are middle school age kids, I
Yeah.
think.
Oh, yeah.
So, maybe I'm not being fair in saying that it missed the landing. Maybe that's on me. Maybe I'm too old and I just need to keep that in mind. I don't know.
Well, yeah, and you're right.
That's a
You're right.
possibility.
Yeah, it's always a possibility. I mean,
So,
yeah. I mean, we've made that statement before. even in this show, not every book is written for us.
Right, right.
So I mean, there's a level, and I think with every comic that we read and talk about on the show, that there is a level of sort of understanding of craft and understanding. I mean, I'm really bad at it, but at the same time, I feel like I can tell if a book's put together well. I can tell
Mhm.
if a story's told well.
Yeah.
You know, those. I mean, both of us have been reading comics for so long. I would think we at least can pull those core thing. And I think we both agree this is a well put together story. It's a well put together comic. Art
Very
looks great.
interesting.
I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
the concept is not, something that we see very often. You know, sort of the direction and sort of, that is unique. And so, yeah, I think it's I think it's a solid conceived comic. But yeah, you might be right. It might have been geared toward us. So the the things that we're looking for, um, are probably baggage of other things that we wish were a little
Well, yeah,
had hit the landing a little harder.
yeah,
So
what I'm looking for is something that just isn't there. It's not that
yeah,
they didn't. It's
just didn't
or
need to be there for them.
they purposefully
Yeah,
didn't rather than yeah. So
yeah, and
that
that's
just
fine.
now occurred to me. I'm used to not reading something that's kind of a tweener book. Either I
Right,
read something that I know for sure, from Dell or Looney Tunes, or
right,
or I read Marvel and DC. So it's
right.
there's um yeah, I guess maybe I just need to work out those muscles of the in between books that I as an adult want to enjoy, but it's like, well, it's not necessarily made for you to enjoy.
Right,
It's
right.
so
Yeah, and like I said, that's when we have to kind of look at it for the craft of it.
right. Yeah.
So that's one of the to promote iFanboy. Like I need to promote those guys. But that's a thing. Having listened to them since 2006, I mean forever. Maybe seven or whatever. No, it was six. It was one of the first ones
No,
I
yeah, I
listened
was going to
to.
say I think 6.
Yeah. So, but having listened to them for as long as I have, one thing that I have paid a lot of attention to over the last year or two is their point of saying, yes, there's nothing about this particular book we're talking about that might jump out to us, but we can understand and appreciate the craft of it.
Mhm.
It's not that it was a poorly done book or whatever, whatever that, whatever negativity you could come up with. It's not that. It's just, yeah, it didn't speak to them. And so I'm trying to learn that from listening to those guys, and as well as reading the books that we read when we talk about them, sort of be able to decipher that. And you're right. And I didn't think about that. I'm glad you brought that up. So, yeah. All right. So let's jump into a book that I know Ed just squeamish about. Let's talk about Magic number 13.
Okay. I didn't
So
read that one.
that's
Oops.
why I thought you were squeamish about it.
Oops. My bad.
So again, Magic is, a book, and I'll try not to constantly preface every time I talk about Magic or Power Rangers. So here's my line in the sand for Magic. I will not say this moving forward, but I'm still trying to get into it. So that being said, last issue was a great jumping on point. 12, I think, if you had not been reading the series up to this point, I think 12 was a solid sort of main character sitting around the table, kind of, telling their position in the story as it's getting ready to start, where they are, where they're coming from, the baggage that they have, and then this is moving from that moment. So 12 is a good issue, I think, to jump onto. Don't worry about 10 or 1 through 11 unless you want to go back and read them. That's up to you. So that being said, this issue is really, the pacing of this issue is super slow, um, but in a good way, because I feel like we're obviously building toward things. And so this, let's go ahead and get into this before I get too far. Jed McKay has written this. It's illustrated by Iguara. Is that Agara? And then colored by Ariana Consoni, and then letter by Ed Dukeshire, and then couple covers here, designed by Grace Park. So, there's Grace again. So, all right. So, and then uh, Steven is having to jump out. So, all right, man. You have a good one. Your other
Well,
podcast.
he just got here. I can't stick
He
around. I
just
want to
got
jump
here. He
in
just comes
so I
by,
can
says
edit
hello.
tomorrow's episode of my other podcast. Yeah, that's his Patreon only
Yep.
show.
So be sure to go check out Steven's Just Another Fanboy podcast if you haven't already. And if
Yes,
you would
yes.
like to, you can be part of his Patreon and hear his other, or my other podcast is what it's called.
His
So
other, my other. Right.
his other,
Yes.
my other. Yes. It's good stuff.
And if I may,
Mhm.
stay tuned because I know. Yeah, yeah. Um, on the 18th, I believe Stephen is starting a new show with someone that listeners of the Boom Addiction and watchers of the Boom Addiction podcast may be familiar with. So keep your eyes open. Starting
Oh
on April
no.
18th,
Really?
a new weekly show he'll be dropping called the Superman Super Show.
Oh
So
no.
so
This is not a
you
show that I'm aware of.
oh really, you haven't seen him do okay.
No. Why have I missed this?
We're going to be reading Superman from Action
Oh,
1.
so you and Steven
Yes,
are in.
he and I. Yes, no, not you.
Well, I know
No,
it's not me.
you didn't miss anything.
It's like there was an email I missed totally. I didn't
No,
know I was
no.
reading this.
But yeah, so that's what that's gonna be. We're gonna start reading Superman from the beginning, and our thoughts are to talk about it for however long we can manage to
Nice.
read Superman.
That's a lot. That's a lot of Superman.
It is, and for anyone that has ever read Golden Age stories,
That is a
wow,
lot.
they they are different.
They're rough.
They're
I
different.
did that for Batman.
Oh
I picked
man,
up all the Chronicle stuff
yes, I
and
remember those.
read through those. Oh man, that was
I've
painful, painful, painful.
before this had started. Actually, I had started working my way through Batman as well, and I'm through his. I haven't gotten to his book yet, but I have read all of his detective appearances up
Right.
to within like a month or so of his book debuting,
Yeah.
and yeah,
Whew.
wow. And now I can compare those to the Superman
That'll be interesting.
stories.
Yeah.
And I want to my wife is a Wonder Woman fan, so I want
Uh-huh.
to pick up the Wonder Woman Golden Age, the big hardcover omnibuy or whatever they're calling them,
Yeah.
and read her stories too. And then that would be
Some good
I would be
comparison. Yeah.
reading the big three there for DC, their Golden Age stuff. But yeah, Golden Age is it's a different kind of beast.
It's a whole new world for sure.
Yes. So okay, Magic 13. I'm sorry, sir.
Oh, that's fine. So this issue, like I said, is we're definitely pacing this to be a very long or a longer story, maybe another 10 issue story or whatever. So the pacing in this particular issue is a little slow. There's definitely some background setup, which is fine, sort of telling you about the area and everything that's going on. But once we kind of get into where, oh goodness, what are these characters' names? Garruk and Chandra, or Chandra, and I forget what the other one's name is. But there's three of them, and they're our heroes that we're going to follow through this. And Nico is the other one. And so it is sort of learning about how these three are not teammates. These are not three that normally travel together. And so they're having to learn a little bit about each other, learn about how each of them fight and, sort of travel and sort of their experiences and stuff like that. And for the most part, McKay does a great job of not taking the situation too seriously. Like there's some battling going on. Obviously, the one of the villains shows up, and so there's like some conflict there. So we get some nice action sequences, with that and everything. But there's a great bit of humor that I just didn't remember reading in the early, the first couple issues of this series. And McKay's been writing it, this whole time. So it kind of makes me want to go back and check out those earlier ones. Like, did I just miss it or forget about it or whatever? But the humor in it is great, and so it sort of brings me sort of forgetting that this is this big Magic the Gathering world, and sort of focuses just on the scenes that are on the page. And I'm not trying to figure out what a planeswalker is and what this spell means and what because my brain wants to like know everything that's going on because I don't want to miss something that's part of this larger universe, the humor just sort of makes me forget about all that, and I just kind of focus on what's on the page and just read it. And because of that, the whole issue was super fun for me to read. Um, the art in it is really good. Like I said, the character, because of the dialogue being, and this is not slapstick humor or anything like that, but it is humorous at times, and so in doing so, the facial expressions and everything, the characters and stuff like that are great. There's not this sort of stiffness about them or anything like that. It genuinely, yeah, I don't want to say it's a McGuire level storytelling as far as, but that's a very unique artist and everything, but which was unfair for me to even compare. But the characters are great as far as storytelling and expression and everything, and that's something that I need from from an artist with characters that I don't recognize. I need to be able to say I understand what they're saying and sort of their feeling about what's going on through facial expressions and everything. That's really hard to do in a comic book, especially if you're going from panel to panel to panel to panel and a lot's going on. So it's a fun issue. I definitely recommend picking up 12, just sort of to start on the ground floor of the story, but it's not really even that necessary. You could just grab 13 and be good to go. So I'm, surprised when I got to the end of this issue. I'm excited to read the next issue, and I'm not
Cool
surprised.
beans.
I'm not surprised because like, oh, I didn't think I was going to enjoy this. I was just like intimidated. I continue to be intimidated by this series for whatever reason. So I'm no longer that. This issue laid it all out. It was a great issue, fun, and I'm looking forward to seeing Sarah McKay and crew take it from here on.
Cool beans.
Yep.
You should hold on to that enthusiasm because here in another month or so, the card game is dropping another subset.
You
If
see,
that's what they're called, but whatever they're called, it's a.
really,
I think
yeah,
it's patterned. I read that it was patterned after 1920s kind of motif,
really.
and so
I'll have to
it's
check
going
that
to
out.
involve a lot of stuff like that. I was looking at some other non-sport card stuff that I follow, and pictures of cards are starting to come out. They don't have an
Yeah,
actual card list out yet, but they're dropping examples and the different types, the
yeah,
foils and the special this and special that and all this, the commander sets and um, and some really cool looking motif as far as the artwork. You can
right.
see it, the similar feel across the line, and they're bringing back a character that they haven't used in several sets, and so yeah, so an upswell of interest right now because
Cool.
there's a new set getting ready to come out.
That's I don't need you to tell me things like that because
Well,
I
that's what
try
I'm here
not and
for.
add the new stuff, but now I'm
Yep.
always interested. Is it the streets of New
Yes,
Capernia
yes, it
or
is.
Capinia? There's no R in
Capenia,
there. I
yeah,
keep wanting to put one in there.
Capenia, something like that. But
I have
yes,
seen actually. I have seen today. Actually, I didn't know what I was looking at until
okay,
now. But the
yeah,
style, the border, and everything reminds me of what I was looking at earlier on TikTok. So cool stuff, man.
yeah. So Magic will be more in the zeitgeist here for the next.
Yep.
I forget when it's coming out in May. I thought maybe I saw. So
I don't think this said. It just said it was a tour. This is just a preview of the
okay,
set.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so talk and everything will be building over the
Yep.
next little bit as that gets ready to come out.
Cool. I will have to check that out.
All right, so it's my turn.
It is your turn, sir.
All right, I will go ahead and I will leave Alice Ever After for you,
Oh, okay.
and I'll take Jim Henson's The Tory. Yeah,
The Tory. Okay.
speaking. It's yes. Okay, The Storyteller. Jim Henson's The Storyteller. Shapeshifters 2, and this book. And I have a wife in the other room as witness. Unlike Buckhead, when I put it down, I put this down and said, "This is why I sift through dozens and dozens of bleh comic books in
Mm.
order to get this one. This one touched a place inside that is cool for comic books to do for me. I really enjoyed this um, on an emotional level. This really was um, it filled a space that needed filled inside for me. I really enjoyed this. Other folks, I'm not sure if it will be as touching for them. The story is by Darcy Little Badger, who is an actual um, man. I'm not sure the term. I believe Native American is an okay term to use. I believe, or not Native American, indigenous,
Mhm.
an indigenous person. I'm sorry. They are a Lipan, Lipan, Lipan Apache,
Oh,
and
okay.
if you read the story, it definitely had undertones that you associated
Oh, for
and
sure.
were
Yeah.
enough to wonder. And then, yeah, when somebody tells you, you're like, yes, absolutely, I see that. The art was by Alexandra Festevet, Festovets, Festovet. And I apologize, Alexandra. Colors by James Fenner, letters by Jim Campbell. And I don't have a designer. Did
Oh,
it
yeah. It's
not?
Madison.
Okay, Goyette
Yeah, Madison
or
Grant.
Goye. And so, for those of you that may not be familiar with the setup of the book, this is a started with a Jim Henson TV production, which we all know as Muppets, but this was a Muppet, but it wasn't Muppets like Ernie and Bert and Elmo and Big Bird and those guys. This was an older gentleman who sits in a chair and smokes a pipe, and he tells stories. And at his feet lays his big sheepdog, I think maybe. And the sheepdog can talk, and that's it. Um, there have been volumes where the storyteller has told us stories based on a certain concept. In this particular volume, the concept that is in each of his stories is that of shapeshifters. Now, this one, yeah, but I thought this was kind of a loose usage of shapeshifter. I mean, I understand, and it
Yeah.
applied, but and this is me. When I think shapeshifter, and I mentioned this last issue, I think of the mythology of the fairies who will leave one of their children in a
Right.
child's bed of a human and it looks human and they'll steal the human child.
Yeah.
That kind of shape shifting. Or, me being a fantasy geek, a lycanthrope of some sort, a werewolf or a monster, dragons. Dragons are sometimes known to have human form. And so
Hmm.
those are the shapeshifters I'm used to thinking about. This was a little bit more subtle, but it was there. But it was the story was told throughout most of the life of our main person, who I was so captivated by the story, I took no notes beyond the creatives. That's how
To
much I enjoyed
Rose.
the story. I
Yeah.
I didn't take the time to write anything down. But she first we encounter her when she is probably grade school age, and then we see her when she requires constant care, and so she is in some sort of facility. I don't necessarily want to use the word home. That doesn't necessarily have the right connotation, but she's in a elderly care facility, and we may even by the end of the story see her die. I think is what they kind of are hinting at there.
Yeah, it seemed alluded. Yeah.
Yeah, the bush with the red flowers.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's kind of how I took that to be. If that was not actually her, it was meant as far as the story to be a representation of her surrounded by the reeds
Yeah.
or there. And so it shows her during various stages of her life. The shapeshifters, she is a very, and I'm tired of saying she. Let me look here and
Her
get
name
her
is Rose.
Rose. Okay,
Yeah. Because
which
there was a
explains
rose bush.
the bush at the end. Yes. Um, she's a very imaginative, very creative young girl when we first see her. She never loses that. She wants to grow up to be a dancer. Um, she, for the most part, is not able to be the kind of like life professional kind of dancer that she wants to be, but she dances throughout her life, and she has almost what we would interpret, particularly if we were her parents, as imaginary friends. Is what it struck me as. Um, but they are the shapeshifters. They start out, and I like that they age with her too. I thought that was really
Yeah,
cool
that was good.
because I think there there would really be no need for them to age with her other than to give her comfort,
Hmm.
other than to reflect whatever stage she is in. Otherwise, I mean I know that they are the reeds, and that's the plant, the reeds in a nearby pond, the edge of the pond where she lives. I know plants live for a long time. I don't know that this particular patch of reeds, these reeds, are going to live for 70, 80, 90 years like she did. So I find it hard to imagine that those actual plants would be their actual age that they were reflecting back to her.
Oh yeah, I gotcha.
I think they would have much shorter lifespans, but new ones would grow up in the same place. And so any one reed isn't going to be 70 years old. It's only going to be 15, 20 years,
Sure.
right? They die off, grow back, die. So I thought it was for her. They were doing that for her, because every time she would visit and every time she would see them, they would reflect her age, whatever
Mhm.
stage of life she was in. That's how they would appear to her when she saw them again. So, um, but the story is of her leaving and coming back for whatever reason, leaving and coming back. She does this several times over her life, um, until the very, very poignant end. Um, I was so moved by when she went out and the construction was going on and when she was at the home, and I thought that they had it set up like this was the first time at this particular age that she had been able to do this. But my heart wants to tell me that she has been doing this all along while she has been in that home. And this was just another time that she had been
Right.
visiting with them that we actually got to see. And yeah, the ultimate end of the story is an end to the story. And then the storyteller and the dog will come on and they will bookend. They're there at the beginning to set things up, and then you have the story, and then they're there to kind of pull whatever threads are left back into the whatever the theme is, shapeshifters, in this particular volume. So I very very much enjoyed the story. I don't know, and much like Buckhead, without long-term thought put into it, I can't explain to you why. I can just tell you how it felt and what I felt, and I enjoyed the story very, very much.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, I like the idea of, of Storyteller, of the way we get a theme, so Shapeshifters obviously, but getting the one and done kind of story, it gives you that opportunity to read beginning, middle, and end in one single issue,
Mhm.
so that you do get that, that hit at the end, whatever that is.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, this was a very this is extremely well done issue, and yeah, definitely had a very poignant into it, and the moments where you see um like, because this is her her mother's home, where she you know meets the Reeds for the first time, and then for her mother to pass away, and then she and her siblings can't afford to keep the house, and so they end up having to sell the house, and so they sort of lose that, but at the same time developers have come and sort of ruined where the Reeds were and all this other stuff over time. It's just one of those things, like, you see sort of this heartbreak and sort of this emotion that she's going through, and and but to get sort of at the end of this issue, sort of probably the best way that the story could have ended for
Yeah.
her. So it's a I want to say a nice emotional roller coaster that you get, but in a comic book format. I don't think it. I've read it um, much better anytime in recently than I got out of this issue.
It was very real, I thought
Yeah.
too. I mean, you
Mhm.
had the background of the fiction, but I can say personally that I was there when I had to move my parents out of the house that I grew up on.
Mhm.
I had to be part of the deconstruction of said house,
Yep.
their relocation. I was part of them relocating to a full-time care facility.
Mm.
So these different aspects, I'm like, and I know I am far from the only person uh, that has ever gone through those stages that were um, so effectively laid out as being like the natural order of things.
Right.
It
Yeah.
happens, it occurs, in the and all the while, again, in the background, you have this fiction of the shapeshifters and how they're interacting with the real life person that we may identify with because we have had to do these things. We have
Yeah.
been that person at different stages. So
Mhm.
I did a little bit of research for the writer, and it turns out that writing is not something that they do full time, and I don't remember what it is, but they have a terminal degree in, if I recall, something a little bit more hard sciency.
Oh, okay.
Um, and they have written other things other than this, not
Mhm.
um, a huge mass. And actually, I did not see anything um for the past several years other than this one story here. So I don't know if they are writing in journals that I just don't have access to, or I didn't know how to look up or anything like that.
Right.
But they're not a frequent writer. But again, this story moved me so much that as soon as I was done, I was like, "Wow, what else is out there?" And it was a little difficult to find things.
Yeah. Oh, didn't realize. Oh, they did Strange Lands from Humanoids way back in like 2019.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember
So,
picking that book up when that came out. Didn't even. Well, no. Oh, okay, co-wrote. Maybe that's why that didn't. I don't know. It was a 6 issue series. So, but yeah, no, that's yeah, but not a lot that I can see on League of Comic Geeks on
mm-mm.
that website. So, not it's not the most robust search engine, but it does a good enough job. So,
Right. Yeah.
but yeah, so yeah, there's 5 or 6 things that Captain America miniseries that came out last year with where they were crossing across going across the country.
Right.
Uh, wrote one issue of that, and then something with Superman Red, White, and Blue, and so a little bit of here and there. So, cool. But yeah, this was a really good issue. It was one of those things. You kind of read it, and you're just kind of like, oh well, I'm glad this came across my desk today.
Yeah, yeah, it
Glad I
was
could do
good.
that. All right, so let's talk about Alice Ever After. This is the first issue of this new 5-issue miniseries. I Written by Dan Panosian. I think I got that right this time.
Panosian. I've
Yeah,
heard it both
Panosian.
ways. Hmm.
Well, and I listened to, and I'll go ahead and preface this. I probably should have done this before. This was a focus on Boom Studios' YouTube channel.
Yeah,
Today with Boom Chat.
I
So
listened to it too.
Bree did a interview with Dan and Giorgio. Is that right?
Hmm.
Yes. And so great. It was like a 20-25 minute video.
It was one of the longer ones. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was really happy to see that. Um, Dan's a great artist, great comic book creator, storyteller just in general. I tend to frequent his YouTube channel. He's part of the original Drink and Draw crowd.
Okay.
If you know from comic conventions, artists get together, usually on I think it's Friday night or something like that of the con, and or multiple nights or whatever, and get together at a bar, or restaurant, or whatever, and just sit down, talk, hang out, and pick a subject to sketch out, or whatever. So they do it on their YouTube channel. So that comes up. It's at least once a week. Sometimes I feel like it's twice a week, but it just might be, I don't know, it just might be me. Maybe I just think it is, but it's at least once a week. Um, Dan Quasada is in there a lot. Dave Johnson is there. Jeff Johnson's in there quite a bit. So and they usually have, they always have a theme for their show, and then a lot of times they have a guest. So there's 4 or 5 of them, 6 of them in there sometime. It's more you just sort of put it on, listen to the stories and the stuff, and it's usually about an hour and a half or so. It's usually a fun thing to go back and listen to during the week for me. When I'm at work listening, or working or whatever, I can just sort of a podcast, but then, it's YouTube. So I get to go look every so often and look at the art, because they're, in the middle of drawing some crazy stuff. And then, you follow them on, social media. They usually show whatever the finished product is. So it's good stuff. So Dan's one of my favorite artists for a very long time. I can't even. I don't think I can remember even the first thing that I saw him do. Maybe X Force, but I really wasn't a fan of his art back then. I thought it was really not good.
Do you want to hear something interesting?
Sure.
He's been associated with Boom since 2006.
I didn't put that together.
He did a cover for Pirate Tales in
Oh,
2006.
Goodness. Yeah.
The most recent thing was The Unkindness of Ravens.
Yes.
He did that, but he's done some stuff. Now, I don't know exactly what it is. It could just be covers, or it could be interior art. I didn't look to see specifically. Big Trouble in Little China and Escape from New York.
He's done covers on those. Yeah.
Okay. Angel and Spike,
Yep.
Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
It's quite a few covers on those. Yep.
Irredeemable.
Yep.
So, but 2006 was his first Boom thing.
I don't even know why I didn't put that together, but yeah, it's good. Just I don't know. There's something about his style. It's just, I don't know. It just,
in this book, which was his portion?
So this book was split up in 2 ways. There was the sort of, let me back up a little bit, and then we'll move to that and answer that question. So as far as how the story is set up and everything like that, this is Alice of Alice in Wonderland. This is sort of the, what if, we took a look at Alice, when she's in her 20s. She's
Right.
older now. She's
Later in life,
yeah,
right.
later in I don't want to say later in life because I feel like that's us, but
Well,
so,
but
but
she's not the little
she's
girl that fell
yeah,
down the
she's not
rabbit
the little
hole.
girl running around jumping in the holes and everything. Yeah, you're right. So part of that is, and part of that interview is talking about how at this time period that folks would be using opioids and heroin and stuff like to cause or to fix just normal ailments and stuff
Right.
like that. And so drug addiction was not a unheard of thing, but it was not known as that. And so it was kind of like, at what point does, Alice's life go out of control if she feels that she needs to continue to take whatever these pills are in order to, return to Wonderland? Or is she really returning to Wonderland, or is it, a hallucination? It's all of these things. And so we'll probably dive a lot into all of this. So that's sort of the setup. So the issue, at least this first issue, is split up in two art styles. We get I don't even think I went through the whole creative team, or maybe I did.
Yeah,
No,
you
I
did.
didn't. So
Oh,
okay,
no,
so
no?
we
Okay.
started with Dan, and then we just kind of went off.
Yeah, you're right.
So written by Dan Panosian, illustrated by Giorgio
Spalletta
Spalletta, and then
and Dan
and
Panosian.
Dan Panosia, who
Right.
Giorgio does the present
Okay.
real world
So
art,
Dan did the
and
Wonderland
then
stuff.
Dan does the Wonderland stuff. And according
Okay.
to that interview that they did on Boom Chat, he wanted Adam Hughes to do it,
Right.
but
Right.
just couldn't.
Woof.
I don't know if it couldn't afford him or couldn't convince him to not do cover. I don't know, but it was
Yeah.
that's what he wanted. Yeah, but when Boom was like, "Well, could you do it?" and he was like, "Well, yeah, I can do it," which
Boy,
is
that would have been an even bigger difference having
oh, it'd have been,
Hughes do a
but that I
portion.
think was his point. He
Wow.
wanted to really
Yeah.
have two, diverse styles. So
I mean, they're different enough that you can tell something's going
yes,
on, but
yeah.
yeah.
This is also colored by Fabiana Mascolo, who also was the colorist for Unkindness of Ravens, his previous series. Lettered by Jeff Eckelberry. Then a bunch of variant covers, lots of variant covers. Um, Apparently there's a Comic Tom exclusive variant cover that I will never own because I'm not part of his mail order club. Dang it. Um, and then designer is Madison Goyette. Good lord, she's all over the place.
He designs everything.
Designs it all. Designs the world. So yeah. So like I said, this story is setting up sometime she's probably in her 20s or something along those lines. She's obviously, not obviously, but she's mixed up, with this guy named Morton, who provides her drugs. He's mixed up in a bad crowd. Things happen to him, which then in turn puts her life, in some danger. And then, kind of spirals from there. Um, it's one of those things. The thing that I look for in a first issue is this world set up, or these characters introduced, or things like that make you um, ready and comfortable for what's coming next. And I feel like we definitely got that. I feel like I mean, there's a bunch of characters that were introduced. You get, not only Alice, but you get, Morton, and then you get Morton's friends, quote unquote friends. And then you get her mother and father and her sisters. And then you get the shop owner, who I'm sure we'll see more of in the future. You get Mr. Proud, who is or Earl, who is an old childhood friend of hers that apparently, it sounds like went on some of these adventures in Wonderland with
Uh,
her.
well, we saw in this issue that he could be on both sides.
Well, and then that's the thing, though, and that's what I'm hoping, we'll learn as we go. Is is Wonderland now just a hallucination, or is it really Wonderland, or those kind of things? So, which
Yeah.
if we look at it from that perspective, you're right. That he is able to be on both
Right.
sides.
Well, I mean, when we did see her, she was unconscious on the floor.
Right. Right.
So she's not going to be seeing anybody while she's
Well, true. Yeah.
unconscious, assuming that they look like these other characters.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what we were given in the first issue is that some aspect of her goes somewhere else, even if
Right.
it's just in her mind,
Right.
because she was actually physically unconscious at one
Yeah.
point. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
But so I'm trying to think. I mean, it's really not a whole lot to tell about as far as like the issue and the story and goes and everything. But it's purely, setup. It's really, establishing who she is, where she is, what her life is like, the characters and people that are involved in it.
Mhm.
And then we kind of get, there's, a realization by her family that she needs help, and so what do? You send her to, the insane asylum. Um,
And I'm wondering, those 2 toughs that came to get her, was that Tweedledee and
oh yeah, I
Tweedledum
mean
number?
that's
Oh,
definitely what
okay,
that's.
that's yeah, that's
But the even better part about it is that she ends up taking herself to the hospital and not waiting. It's like
right,
she was already a step ahead of everybody,
checking herself in,
and it's the Queen of Hearts.
right, the Red
It's her.
Queen that is
Yeah.
there apparently, and
So it's
yeah, we did see, the rabbit, the walrus, the dodo,
yes.
and the hatter,
Hmm.
when she went on her first,
Right. Yeah.
trip,
Trip.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
whatever you wanna call it.
But yeah, it's overall I really enjoyed it. I mean,
Mm,
it's a solid first issue for me. Um, and the thing that I really enjoyed was Spoletta's art because it is it is a lot like Panosian's art,
mhm,
but
to a point, yeah.
but yeah, but to a point. And I think that um I don't know, it's not it's his own thing, and so it's not like it's aping it by any stretch, but there's definitely a very cohesive art style that then allows for Mascolo's coloring to sort of do the flexing to differentiate where we are in those two worlds,
Well,
and it
in that
really goes to their strength.
in that interview video, Giorgio did say that he has used Panosian as a, style guide,
Yeah, yeah,
which that's not the word he used. He used, I can't remember the word for
yeah. Well, yeah. When he pulled up, I saw him pull up a trade of slots,
right,
which is
yeah.
a favorite of mine. Yeah. So he definitely had some of his reference work there.
So, yeah, he's not gonna have to try to ape because he uses that, and so there's gonna be a certain level of emulation there
Yeah,
in
yeah,
his drawing, in using Dan's, yeah,
yeah.
so and to me, that would be more interesting than, say, an Adam Hughes because of the vast
Right.
difference.
Yeah.
How about 2 artists that are, some different? And that way for us, it's confusing. Is she going somewhere? Is she
Right.
just seeing this in her head? Is
Yep.
it would be more difficult for us to understand unless we're just flat out told what's going on as we're trying to put together what's going on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Doug says he thought it was pretty great. The art really stands out for me. Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Um, couple things that came to mind for me too, or not two. I don't know why I said two. Um, a couple series that are very similar to this. There was a prose series. I don't know, Chris. You may have remember when this came out. The Looking Glass Wars by Frank Bedore.
Oh, yeah. I
Do you remember
remember
that?
that. Hmm.
3 prose novels. Now, more to what we do. There was a scene in the very first novel where the heroine and her valet were running from Wonderland because of some things that were going on, and they were coming over to here, and so they
Right.
went through a uh, actually they had to go through puddles, but they were transporting. Well, he got separated from her, and then caught back up with her later in the book.
Hmm.
That gap was filled by a series of 6 graphic novels that Frank Bedore did. The character was Hatter Madigan.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. Was it the Hatter,
Yeah,
M stuff? Yeah.
the first one, uh, the first graphic novel was drawn by Ben Templesmith.
Yeah.
I
I
believe the
remember
other
that.
5 was by the same person, not Ben Templesmith. But so there's 6 graphic novels out there with this, uh, supposedly, and I'm not going to argue because it was for me also the favoritist character from the book in
Oh yeah.
Hatter Madigan. And so those, that would be of interest to potentially us and people listening. The
Hmm.
last one, number 6, came out in 2015, and the first came out in, I don't know, 2006, 7, 8, something like that.
Yeah.
So those are out there. Very, very similar in vein to
Yep.
this, in that it's based on Alice in Wonderland. Other than that, honestly, there is no similarities
Oh
really.
yeah. Yeah.
Hatter M is his own character. He's got some really cool equipment that he uses that fits in with the Wonderland, but it also fits in with the Victorian Europe, London, where they end up when they transport. In his not being transported to the same place at the same time as she is, he gets transported not only to a different place but to a different age. He comes much more closer to modern, if not, I believe, modernity at the time that the book was written,
Yeah.
whereas
I've,
she is in Victorian England.
yeah.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend that if you like that type of Alice in Wonderland kind of thing. The prose novels, yeah, okay, they were good, but prose. Well, I mean, we don't talk about prose. I
Right.
read
Yeah.
I read prose too, but the 6 graphic novels all. Hatter M. I believe it's Looking Glass Wars, Hatter
Yeah.
M,
Yeah.
and then the title of that graphic novel.
Yeah.
And there's 6 of them
I'd
floating around
forgotten
out there.
about those, but glad you brought that up because I
I thought
remember
about that
enjoying those.
immediately. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
But cool. All right. Good stuff, man. So, um, I don't think there's anything else I have to say about that book.
Uh,
It's pretty good.
buy Alice Ever After.
Oh
Buy
yeah, there you go. That's what.
Storytellers too.
Yeah,
You
totally
can
agree.
buy Buckhead if you've been buying the others just to finish it up.
Yeah, just
That's cool.
yeah.
Pre-order Grimm, all the covers, all 6, even though we only saw 3. It's get them all.
I'm hold one second. I'm gonna
Uh,
see. I'm trying to pull up. This is off the cuff. I apologize. I shouldn't have done that. Is it just a 6? And this particular site doesn't have all the covers, but has a different cover. Who is this? Does oh, here, let me share this. Just because, covers. This is the um, Dave Johnson cover.
nice.
I'm afraid that it says it's an FOC reveal, but we didn't see it listed with FOC. We saw the
Yeah.
Jay Lee one as the FOC one. So this may be a ratio cover. I don't know for sure, but
One of the letters we didn't get.
yeah, yeah. So definitely, because this is showing the 1 in 50 incentive, which is what we thought. Then there's the foil, and there's the main.
Yeah, they don't have the J. Lee cover listed there at all.
Yeah, yeah. And that's why I said I think that was just listed today.
Okay.
So usually this website, League of Comic Geeks, if I'm not updating the Boom stuff, then it usually takes a day or two after it gets announced. So there is people who are,
Right. Yeah, it's
updating
fan.
Yeah, it's fan driven.
Fan driven. So
Yeah. So, but yeah. So, yeah, we hadn't seen the Dave Johnson one. So I'm not entirely sure what that one's going to be. So either way, be like Chris, buy variant covers,
buy them all.
buy them all. So, all right. Anything else before we get out of here?
Like Pokemon.
Yes.
No, I don't think so.
Cool. All right then. Come by and check out the website, comicaddiction.net or boomaddiction.com. Same page, different ways to get in there. One's the front door, one's the back door. How's that? And probably they're both front door. Anyway, doesn't matter.
Yeah, that's
That's it. It
anyways,
was going to get weird.
moving on. Yeah,
If you're on the Facebook and you want to be part of that group, you can look for fans of Boom Studios. You can come over there and join the community there. Ed posts tons of links to various sites and everything, and articles, other interviews and places like that, which he tries to really culminate all of the boomness in one location.
anything I see. I mean, I'll post stuff that Boom posts. I'll post that they post directly. If they link to an article or an interview or something, if I catch it on Twitter, I'll get the link to what they linked to. And yeah, so just anything I see, I try to post on the Facebook page just so it's all there in one place.
Yep. So go check that out. If you're not one of those that likes to be on the Facebook, obviously you can come by other social media. Ed and I and the show are on Twitter. That's usually the best place to contact us to ask us stuff or just see what's going on. You can follow the show at Boom Addiction. You can follow Ed at Teal Productions. You can follow me at Chris Parton. You can email us, and I've already looked at the email, and no one has emailed me, but that's okay. I mean, email to us, not me. It's not. I'm not taking it personal at all. I promise. It's not a thing. I'm okay. I'm all right. Boomaddiction at gmail.com. Maybe I should make sure that email is correct that I keep giving. Maybe that's what it is. I'll double check that for the next episode.
You've been giving people a bogus email ad.
Man,
Okay.
Somebody's been getting the wrong. Hold on, let Chris check this real quick.
Wow.
Just, because we're closing out, we want to make sure.
What a thought.
No, I've been given the right email address.
Okay.
I had a little bit of hope. It was like that much. It wasn't much, but it was just enough.
But that's okay, because we have Stephen and Doug and Peter, if you're out there and you never said anything, man, otherwise you missed a good show, here with us on the Facebooks.
Yes.
Or the YouTubes. I'm sorry, not the Facebooks. The tubes of you.
Yes.
As Thor would call it.
So you can you can come by, or you can email us there. But you can also, every Thursday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, you can come by the YouTube channel.
Right here.
And check us out. We try and put a reminder up during the day on Thursday so that you know that we're still doing it. If we don't do it, we'll try our best to let you know that we're not going to do it. But usually when that happens, it's probably a last second thing.
Yeah, it's a late notice for us too.
Trust me.
Oh well.
I will warn you ahead of time. Next week, and we'll talk about next week's show in a second. I know my work schedule is going to get really, really busy next week.
Okay.
My company is going through a lot of projects, but I work from home too, so I manage all this stuff. It's a thing we do. So the show will go on. I just may look a little frazzled. It's what it'll more end up being. So, but yeah, be sure to come by, and Twitter is where we put all that stuff as far as like links and everything for where the show is and all. So just be sure to check all that.
The best place for notices and stuff like that of what's going on.
And if you're listening to us on the podcast, you can obviously check us out on Stitcher and Spotify and iHeartRadio and all of those things that the podcast catchers catch as far as shows go. And check us out there. If you have an opportunity to rate or review or whatever, cool. If you don't, hey, we just appreciate you listening to us. That's really the big thing. If you email us, it makes me feel a little. No, it doesn't. It's still the same. Actually, it'll take me from like a 9 to like a 9.5.
And that's okay. For those of you that are longer in the tooth, podcast listeners, we don't have a number that you can call in on.
We do not have a 1-800 number or a voicemail message.
That was all the rage like 10 years ago.
I was big into that too.
Nobody
ever called. Nobody called. We were hoping so much. But anyway, so next week's episode 36, definitely we're going to be talking about Six Gun Gorilla, that 6-issue miniseries. So be sure to, if you haven't read it already and you're going to, get read up by Thursday and be ready If you got questions and comments and stuff like that about that book that you would like for us to highlight, share, whatever you want us to do, you can tweet us, DM us, email us, or come on the show and put it in the chat. We'll talk about
Yeah.
it then. So all of those cool things. I think that's it.
Yep.
Cool. All right, Ed. Oh, hold on. Excuse me. As always, everybody, thank you for listening and watching. Format. I'm gonna learn it in a minute.
Stick
It's
to
one
it.
of those. I got to stick to
you.
my format, and I can't
Gotcha.
remember how it goes all the time. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Ed, as always, thank you for joining me.
Yes, sir.
Next week, Doug. Doug, thank you. God, I'm not forgetting about you, Doug. But Doug,
I can't wait to hear from you about Six Gun Girl. Okay, cool.
So Doug will be here about Six Gun. Hopefully, you will be here for about Six Gun. We are trying to get some guests. That is I'm literally just going to leave it at that.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress. I will say, as a side note, to sort of, I have the last 2 weeks I have been more hyped to do the show than I have in a while. And no reason for not being hype. I'm always hyped about doing the show and everything. But it's what I just said. It's like it's that me being at a 9 and then going to a 9.5. It's just for whatever the last 2 weeks. And so so Doug saying he is excited about Six Gun Gorilla. It's a 9.6 now.
Thanks,
it's just
Doug.
a little bit more.
Okay.
Just can't wait.
It's going to be that much harder for me to keep up with the kid there.
Oh man, it's gonna be crazy. I will have some caffeine just for kicks and giggles.
Okay.
All right, so next week, episode 36. We will catch y'all then. Goodbye.
Ciao.
And Doug, we will see you later. Thanks for joining us as always.
Yeah, man. Appreciate it.
So you are unofficial third chair. If that we'll make you title. We'll put you maybe we'll have like a third chair. Well, I can't do third because I don't have 3 people on here. But we could do like 3 images. Well, that's too close. Let's not do that.
If there's a way to do something about the names over here or something,
Maybe.
I don't know.
We'll have to. Oh, I can put. Oh.
Uh-oh.
So I found a cool tool. I can put a user in timeout. That's in the chat. I can block you too. I don't want to do that. But I can put you in timeout.
We need to put Rios in timeout. If he was here this whole episode and he didn't say anything, man. I don't even know if he was here tonight.
That's the thing. We don't even pay attention to half these tools that we have in front of us. We just hit play and go.
Thanks for great. You're welcome, Doug. Appreciate it, man.
All right, so I'm gonna end the broadcast for Doug, for everybody on YouTube. So y'all have a good evening. We will catch y'all next week.
Adios.
And we're closing out. It's still spinning.